Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. This is Nathara at Gathering Crows, and it's been about a month since our last episode. And I gotta tell you guys, I am feeling a little stressed. Just a little bit stressed here. I have been spending a lot of time doom scrolling, just to be completely honest with you there. There's a lot going on. And I'm usually a night person, so I'm usually awake when most of the current protests are happening. And so I spend a lot of time keeping up minute by minute with what's going on with the latest rounds of rioting by the police and the violence being inflicted on protesters and all of that kind of action. And it's kind of a lot to be watching moment by moment. To be totally honest with you guys, it's probably not great for my, mental and emotional well-being. So the last few days I've been trying to chill out about that. On top of that, the last weekend I have been dealing with an infestation of bark flies in my bathroom, and that is horrible. They've kind of appeared every once in a while over the last several months, and it's always super gross. Bark flies, in case you don't know, are totally harmless. They don't carry disease, and they don't hurt people, and they infest wood and paper products, and frankly they're just gross. That's my whole issue with them. They're gross, they're taking over, and they really like to get in the toilet paper, which is like super extra gross. So I have been dealing with that for the last 5 days, and right now my bathroom is just completely empty. Fairly spotless except for all the bug spray, and you guys know I never use bug spray whatsoever if I can help it. I'm really very into repellents instead and keeping things clean, and that typically works, but when it comes down to it, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So that being said, the stress is a lot, and so later on in this podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about stress management and relaxation and things like that as well, so please stay tuned for that. But I do want to mention up front that in our country right now, we have protests that have been going on now for 56 days. I went back and I counted them. 56 days is a lot of time. That's almost 2 months now. We're coming up really, really close on the 2-month mark. And these protests are really, really important. Not just on a political level, but on a social level as well. We're seeing a lot of truth and honesty come out about those topics, about racism, about social structure, about what's going on in our society, about the way that we're dealing with the current COVID pandemic, what our government and authority figures have done versus what they could have been doing. We're watching other countries that are starting to open up and starting to get back to usual, while here in the US, things are getting shut back down because we never shut down in the first place, and we opened up as quickly as some people thought they could get away with. And so we are having this conflict of all these social issues come up, and especially our historic, ongoing racism and discrimination practices, and they're really coming to the forefront. And it's surprising, even though I felt like I was really aware of the systemic issues when it came to racism and cultural appropriation and even sexism and things like that. Like, I am learning a lot of really horrifying things. And so I can only imagine that people who were not as aware as I was are also having that feeling of being shocked and horrified as well. And I can't imagine there's a lot of people out there who are not also shocked and horrified at all the things that they are also learning. So I'm kind of glad we all get to do that together. But being shocked and horrified is an important step, but we can only hang out there for so long before we need to move on to doing something. And in the last podcast, I'll leave a link below, I talked about some of the things that we can do that aren't necessarily showing up and demonstrating and protesting, because if you're like me, there are reasons why you can't do that, and so there are other ways you can help contribute to changes and kind of put your voice and actions out there. So I'll put a link to the other podcast in the notes for this one, and if you want to go review that information, you totally can. I'm not going to repeat it here, though. In further developments, in addition to all that, on June 16th on Twitter, I saw the first report of the secret police showing up and taking someone away in an unmarked vehicle at the Portland protests, and that's new and scary and horrifying horrifying. And I mean, probably not that new, because I'm now seeing discussions where like the same thing happened in the 90s and the same thing happened in the early 80s at protests and stuff. But I guess there's this like issue where as a society we forget things, or we don't talk about things, or they don't get media attention. And so I'm really kind of relieved to see that the secret police and their kidnappings of citizens is being reported on more mainstream sources. I don't pay attention to the regular news, so I just did like a little googly goo search, and I did see that like CNN is reporting on it, and I saw that the late shows, which I like to watch, are also talking about it, and that's really good. But I hope that we can remember these things for always, because it's important. In addition to that, I think it's important to know that on June 26th, an executive order was signed. An executive order on protecting monuments, memorials, statues, and combating recent criminal violence. And from reading it over a few times, and I am not a legal professional in any ways, but from reading it over a few times and looking at the various discussions happening around it, it looks like the executive order makes it so that any kind of defacement or destruction of statues or memorials in public at all is fully punishable, and states and cities and counties that aren't fully enforcing those laws will also be punished by the federal government too. And it also criminalizes anyone who is aiding or assisting in those activities, in addition to anyone involved in the current protests. And like, current protests is super vague, so I don't know how they're gonna like carry that on at all, but that's, you know, the current violence is out there, I guess. But like I said, I'm not a legal person. I don't have any legal expertise, so I'm not exactly sure how that works. And I don't know how, like, aiding and abetting and assisting and all that is defined either. Like, those are very vague terms as well. So people are very worried that this includes, like, the on-the-ground medics, the journalists, people who are donating to various funds and that kind of thing. And I wish I were more surprised, but I'm really not. I am a little bit relieved to see that various lawsuits are starting to come through, like lawsuits on behalf of like the journalists who have been attacked during riots and the protests and stuff who have been attacked by police, I should specify, and now have various lawsuits coming out in a couple different cities and things like that. And so that should help clarify things or establish legal precedent or hopefully have some kind of effect, but I'm not entirely sure how much anyone is really paying attention to what's legal these days, because I'm pretty sure people showing up and kidnapping people without saying who they are or why they're detaining people is already illegal in various different ways. So who knows where that will happen? We'll find out later in the news. But so that's what's going on in society right now. And so between all the protests and unrest and everything and COVID pandemic, it's very stressful right now. And it's about to be a whole lot more stressful because the federal unemployment bonus thing is ending this month, and then several eviction moratoriums are ending in various states as well, and so that is a lot. So if you're out there experiencing all this, and I think we all are, like I said, there's going to be some links in the show notes below to check out and kind of help deal with that stress and frustration, because it's a lot to be dealing with. I am definitely feeling it, so we are going to give you those resources. By we, I mean I am going to give you those resources below. And now I'm going to change the subject for you. So I wanted to talk about some of the other things going on in the world today. Like, this is just kind of like a roundup update of the things I want to talk about right now. And it's my podcast, so I can do that. But we are having a little bit of like drama in the witchy community. Just like a little spurt of drama, just a little crumb, a little sprinkle of drama out there from WitchTok. Now I don't use TikTok at all for various reasons. That being said, I do enjoy a lot of what is created on TikTok, and I get to see it via Twitter. So I appreciate all the people out there who take the TikTok videos and somehow manage to share them onto Twitter, because I enjoy the heck out of it. I love the creative things that people are doing on TikTok, and I think it's amazing. And apparently the witchy community on TikTok is referred to as WitchTok, just kind of like the witchy community on Instagram is referred to as Witchstagram, something like that. Have I said it right? It's easier to type than to say. Anyway, apparently supposedly, allegedly, some witches were claiming that they were going to hex the moon, and this was an escalation after they had decided to hex the Fae. Now, I attempted to track down the original videos and the original posters who said that they were going to do this, and I couldn't find them. Apparently, like, all the sources that I found said that the original videos had been deleted, and people who claimed to know these people were not going to divulge their identities in order to protect them. So this is kind of up there with some classic Tumblr drama, Witch Blur, if you're familiar. And what I wanted to talk about, though, is what I was seeing where a big part of the community, the witchy community, was kind of freaked out. Part of the community was saying, like, what are we going to do? Like, if you do something to the moon, all of witchcraft is going to suffer. All of the pagans are going to suffer. What are we going to do about magic? Blah, blah, blah. And then, like, another part of the community was like, the gods are going to be mad. Artemis is going to be pissed off. Apollo is going to be pissed off. Like, those particular two gods in specific were named. But then, like, other gods got mentioned too, like Hecate and Diana and a few others as well. But they were just saying that, like, they're gonna be pissed off. And then other people were saying, like, oh, so this is why I've been having such bad luck. Oh, this is why my anxiety is so bad. Oh, this is why I keep seeing dead animals. Oh, this is why the spirits are so restless. At first, I would just want to say to calm down. Everyone just needs to calm down. I'm personally of the camp where I find it all very funny. I don't think there are many people in this world or community who have enough power or energy or force or whatever to actually affect the moon. And if they want to go after the Fae, I'm gonna wish them luck. Like, I mean, not that I want them to succeed, but the Fae, I love them dearly. I love the Fae a lot. But if hexing them was going to be effective, I'm pretty sure Christianity would have done something about it now. So I'm not really worried about the Fae either. I'm not worried about the moon. I'm not worried about the Fae. I'm pretty sure those two can handle themselves, and I'm not worried about it in the least. I don't think it's causing animals to die. I don't think it's causing anyone any anxiety. I think if anyone's experiencing anything anxiety, it's probably because those people have anxiety already. I think it's because people are nervous, and we get anxiety when we're nervous about things. I think if people are like, oh, no wonder I've been so unsettled lately, it's because we're in the middle of a social firestorm at the moment, and there's a lot of stuff to make you feel uneasy right now. And if you were feeling totally chill, I'd have some questions for you and maybe ask some advice right now. Things are very stressful out there, so if you're feeling a little off, it's probably related to everything instead of some WitchTok users trying to hex them in. But it is, as an older witch, as an elder witch, as someone who has been in this community for 25, 30 years, I've seen a lot of drama come and go, and I've seen a lot of people say some very interesting things, and as such, I do find it all very amusing, both the whole idea that people are going to hex the moon and the Fae, and I guess the sun too, as well as the community's reaction to it. So just to take things with a grain of salt and try to keep them in perspective, and just go ahead and relax is what I have to say. Have some popcorn is what I'm trying to say. Enjoy the show and relax. It's all fun and games, I guess. If it's even any serious. I mean, there's a very good chance that it was just shenanigans meant to piss everyone off, and, like, bless the kids for doing it, right? Like, it's a good drama is a nice distraction sometimes, and I'm enjoying that part of it. I did go out and get some popcorn, though. Also, we have a really cool comet happening right now. I haven't gotten a chance to see it, but I have some friends who have. I'm planning to go see it in the next couple days because we only have a couple more days to see it. This weekend is supposed to be when it's starting to really, really fade, and after this weekend, who knows if you're really going to be able to see it. That is the comet Neowsie. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. It's Neowsie, and apparently through this weekend, you'll be able to catch it about an hour after dusk. and it's going to be just below Orion's belt in the northwestern sky. If you go check that out, you can see it with your naked eyeballs, but it's better if you have a binocular or like a small telescope. I'm hoping it works out really well if I just use my long zoom lens to check it out. So, and I might pick up a binocular here from the sporting goods store in a moment. So that should be really exciting. Neowsie comes around every 6,800 years approximately. So go out, check out the sky, try to find a place where you can see the horizon really well. There's not a lot of light interference. Go get some nature. Go check out the stars. And what you'll be expecting to see is what looks like a really bright star with a little classic comet tail on it. So really bright star with a little comet tail. My honey and I went out to a local lake here last weekend because I just had to get out of town. And we went out and wow, I forgot how many stars there are. And I forgot that when you're not in the city, you can actually see like the cosmic dust. I am not an astronomer. I'm also not an astrologer. But I forgot, so I don't know the terms. But I forgot that you could actually see like the trails of cosmic dust or galaxies or whatever it is. Like those fuzzy lines in between the stars if you get out away from the city far enough. And I forgot that there are so many stars in the sky. It is so beautiful. So definitely take some time this week or this weekend to go do that. Like even if you don't see the comet itself, go see some stars. They're really, really beautiful. Connect to that and see if you can find some peace in it. Remember how beautiful the universe is. Remember how beautiful nature is. Remember how beautiful the stars are. And as my philosophy teacher said, we all come from stardust. And in the end, we'll all end up being stardust. And that's fucking cool. So yeah, so go check out the comet if you can. And yes, this is one of those relaxation things I mentioned earlier in the podcast. Another thing that I'm thinking about is I am pretty much over this heat. I am not really a fan of summer and I need to move again and get somewhere cooler because still doing this whole 100-degree thing in the summer makes me deeply unhappy. And even though 100 degrees is not 115 degrees, 100 degrees and 70% humidity is really just as bad, if not worse sometimes, because coming inside with the air conditioner on is not better because it's still very soggy. So I am not enjoying summer and I'm ready for it to be over, and as a result I'm thinking about Halloween or Samhain, your preference. I'm going to celebrate them both because I can. It's my favorite time of year, and I'm realizing that probably won't be doing anything big this year because, you know, there's a pandemic going on. And so I haven't really gotten a chance to do anything the last several years either because there's just been nothing going on and I didn't have a car. So that really limits your ability to do things. And so I'm looking at a limited Samhain this year too. And so I'm trying to think of like what a cool thing is to do that we could do that's like online, kind of like a personal ritual, personal at home fun thing to do, plus like something cool to do online. I usually do like a countdown to Halloween thing on my photography site, which is super fun. I'm a huge horror fan, if you guys don't know. Like huge, ridiculous, like absurdly huge horror fan. So I usually do a countdown to Halloween thing on my photography site, and I'm not sure what I plan to do this year. I might do like a variation on that, I'm not sure. But if anyone has some really cool ideas, I'd like to start planning things now. I mean, maybe we'll do like a 30 days of divination thing. Like that could be cool, or 30 days of witch, like who knows? 31 days. Forgive me. October has 31 days. But yeah, so maybe we'll do like a challenge or activity like that, or maybe a share-a-thon or a group of interviews or something. So if you have any idea, like contact me, email me, hit whatever buttons are down there, grab me on social media, tell me what you're thinking about doing as well. And in addition to that, we have August coming up. August is National Wellness Month. So because we're in the middle of a pandemic and I'm feeling super, super stressed out, I do really, really want to take this time in August to focus on that wellness. Of course, August brings us Lughnasagh or Lammas as well. And so that's the first of our harvest holidays, and it's kind of where we start wrapping up the year. We think about all the things that we've accomplished this year, and we think about like how we want to start setting the stage for next year, how we want to finalize or finish off or wrap up, how we're going to push towards the end of the goals that we have currently in process or get them to the next stage and that kind of thing. So, and we also bake a lot of bread. And from what I hear, there's a lot of people who have gotten really, really good at baking bread. And I honestly have not even tried it. In fact, I went and bought instant pancake batter for the first time in a lot of years the other day, and I'm pretty stoked about instant pancakes. So that's where I am on the bread baking thing. So with August, we're looking at doing some wellness stuff, and I really want to focus on that. I've been really enjoying a couple of friends' projects right now. I'm going to put links in the notes. As always, please check the notes if you're listening to this. I'm going to mispronounce her name, and I apologize right now. One of my friends is Ashley, and she has been doing these really wonderful healing our plastic story presentations and meditations where she talks about kind of coming to peace with plastic in our environment, because in the green communities and environmentalist communities, we really think of plastic as being really, really evil. But when you think about it, plastic comes from the earth too. And like resolving those two facts can be really, really hard. And coming to a better place with it could be really good. And I find what she's doing really, really fascinating. I have been to one of her Zoom workshops just a few weeks ago, and it was really, really awesome. There's a really great meditation going on, and I really, really recommend that you catch them. Her website is at weavinglegends.com. Again, there will be a link in the notes below, so definitely check that out. And the other friend is Eleanor Perdota, who just sent out an email on her mailing list about some new services that she's going to be putting up on her website about resilience and resistance and activism and those kinds of things. If you're not already familiar with her, you should go check out her website. It's at eleanorperdota.com. And again, the link will be in the notes below. And hear more news, and when those services come out, definitely sign up for her mailing list and get in on that. But she has a ton of great wisdom and insight and experiences that she shares with people, so you should definitely go check her out. So in regards to relaxation, we talked about stargazing and spotting a comet. We talked about comedy and frivolous community drama. We talked about relaxation and meditation, and we talked about engaging in art, planning for future fun events, and getting community things started. And we talked about baking bread and other creative pursuits, as well as continuing self-development and expression. So I absolutely encourage that you do those things as much as you can and try to do what I am also planning to do, which is to disengage a little bit from the 24-hour news cycle. It's good to stay informed, but we don't need to be plugged in all the time. Rest and rejuvenation is super, super important. Check out the links below and check out some of those resources that I mentioned. Anyways, I hope all of you out there are doing really great and doing well and staying healthy and wearing your masks. If you need a little extra incentive towards wearing them, know that wearing a mask also hurts the ability of facial recognition software to identify you. So there's always that bonus, and we love a little extra privacy around here, don't we? Anyways, that's it for this episode of the Gathering Crows podcast. And if you guys have anything else to share, any comments, any worries, any concerns, go ahead and contact me either in the comments wherever you find this, or via social media on like Instagram or Twitter, and let's have a chat about it. Talk to you guys later. Bye.